And this is, again, why President Obama, got on some of those Europeans that have been talking trash lately about everybody else's identity who comes to this land, and he had to remind them that they're foreigners. In a what you call a diplomatic way, because they're the foreigner, and they're the only foreigners here. Do you understand? The problem with our people is that our people don't know that too, because they've been their property. And because they've been their property, they've been miseducated by them. And so they are under the idea that these people who thought the world was flat brought them from someplace else. Somebody who knows that thinks the world is flat does not move millions of people anywhere. After all, they thought dolphins were monsters. If you was the captain of the ship and you took them Europeans 20 feet off the shore and they seen a dolphin, you was in trouble. Don't let them see a whale. They can kill you. Turn back, fly back, swim back, however, you're going back. So when people think that they, transported millions and millions of people to the West and all, that's reconstructed history. And logistics, like for instance, anybody that knows fundamental logistics, anybody knows anything about fishing? Anybody been fishing? Anybody been on boats? Little boats? Big boats? All right. Now, common sense. For instance, like say if you were going fishing, right? And you're going fishing, like say in the morning. And it's not winter time. Summertime, spring, like that, right? And I know, as soon as you get about 50 yards to more off the shore, it starts getting cold. Right or wrong? So even in the summertime, if you're fishing in deep water, you wear thick clothes just like if you're in the wintertime. Why? Because you will get sick. Right? And yet they convinced these people that they had people naked, chained together, and steel's cold, draws heat. Chained together like sardines on 4 floors, on ships, for 3.5 months. That's coming from season to season across the Atlantic and brought them to shores or ports that didn't exist in the millions. And that's how we got here. That's the story. And people bought it. Anybody that knows anything about shipping, etc., already knows that to have any what you call stable shipping, we're talking even small boats, we ain't even talking shipping, that you must have organized ports, you've got to pull them ships out, and you've got to clean the hull, particularly if it's wood. And you're not going to be on no water for 3 and 4 months and sailing anywhere unless you have some kind of system where they clean them hulls, because them mollusks and everything will clog that ship and it will be floating nowhere. The other issue is, logistically, water is your heaviest and most unstable of the 4 major elements. Right? So that means also you would need technology to desalinate water, which means sophisticated machinery. Although it's not new to us, basically. Europeans didn't know anything about no desalinization. Matter of fact, they didn't even know how to preserve food. They ate crackers with wet worms in it, and they just used the worms for flavor. Because they didn't know how to preserve, for real. Like the worms, it's just their raisins or whatever. No, that's how they work. Because they don't even know how to preserve food. And you already know that you can't drink salt water. It will kill you. You understand what I'm saying to you? Now, they would need more water in those ships. And keep in mind, on top of the water would have to be at the base of the ship where they need ballast. Particularly for deep water, seas or ocean vessels. Right? All right. And then it would have to be in what you call control chambers so that it wouldn't flip the ship. Because it certainly would. So without even getting into what you call the technical engineering, anybody that knows any logistics at all knows that the so-called diaspora is a fraud. The only people who would buy it is people who think that Santa Claus, they're going to sue Santa Claus because they rode in 10 years and they ain't got a bike yet, so they're going to sue Santa Claus. And it's the same principle, you know. So one thing that we need to do is start using our reasoning power.